And thanks to those of you who joined online. We will be recording this webinar, this as a webinar, and it'll be stored either on CCInfo, our website, ccinfo.unc.edu, or we'll be emailing it out to you, to the whole group. So we'll let you know how that's going to be available. So as campus leaders, we wanted to give you guys a heads up on what's coming with Connect Carolina. So how many of you have heard already that there's a new a new makeover coming for Connect Carolina? Many of you, okay. Okay, that's good news because we have started communicating, but only at a very high level. So you may have seen some stories in the Connect Carolina newsletter. We've had some meetings. I bet some of you guys have been involved already in focus groups that we've had to collect input. So word is starting to get out, but before we really started intensively communicating to campus, we wanted to talk to you first and kind of let you know what's going on so that when people come to you with questions, you'll have some answers and at least you'll know where the resources are for you to get more information. I'm Anita Collins, by the way, so I'm the change management lead for Connect Carolina. Okay. So we're letting you in kind of behind the curtain, right? So like when we're practicing for a play, we don't generally let people behind the curtain to see kind of how all that stuff comes together, but we're bringing you in pretty early, but things are still being decided. The system is still the changes are still being developed, and testing is going to get started soon. So it's pretty early. So the reason is we don't want to wait too late to give you information because this might affect documentation that you have in-house or how you do things a little bit. So we want to let you know that this is coming, but at the same time, things are going to be changing. So I just want to kind of keep that mindset that we're going to show you things, we're going to show you mock-ups, but nothing is final yet. We're still making decisions. So we may have to come back to you and tell you, actually, this is going to be different. Just keep in mind that we're trying to communicate at this point the general changes, kind of give you an idea of what's happening, but don't get too married to any of the details, okay? All right, so we are asking that you hold questions till the end this time. That's because when we do a webinar and a meeting at the same time, we have to run over to you with the mic so you can speak the questions or repeat the questions. And also we're covering a lot of content about how things are changing. So I think we'll just run a little more smoothly today if we just hold questions till the end. But take notes, and for those of you on the webinar, you can feel free to go ahead and type the questions in the chat window, and we will get to all the questions that we can. So at the end, we'll try to save some time at the end. All right, so I want to, not too graceful, wait a minute. If this is the only technical difficulty we have, I'm okay with that, I think. Is it off?
Can I hit this? Okay. Yeah, it was just a matter of getting back.
Aha. Okay, cool. All right. So again, the agenda for today is we've gone through the welcome. Julie Dawkins, who's the project manager for the team, along with the head of all student administration projects, is going to talk to us about why we're making this change and what the benefits are. Then we're going to have Jackie Treschel, Rajani Day, Becky Arnold, and again, Julie, talk about what the changes are. So again, those will be mock-ups. They won't, they're not screenshots. They're just mock-ups of what we're working towards. So they'll give you a sneak preview of what those changes will be. And then I'll come back up and talk for a few minutes about how we're going to prepare you and campus for this change. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Julie.
Thank you. So I'll use the mic because we're recording off the mic, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Otherwise, I would just talk really loud so that everybody could hear me. So yes, I can project. Okay, so I get the great task of saying why are we doing this? Everybody wants to know why. So why are we doing this and what are the benefits? So first of all, have you seen how old the system looks? If you haven't, talk to any student on campus and they will surely let you know how old it looks and how antiquated. They tell us all the time, can you please not make this look a little bit more like Amazon, please. We would love to have, you know, the tiles and the shopping carts and everything, just to be able to bring in our Spotify and all that kind of stuff. So we let them know you can't put your Spotify on here. However, we are going to try to make it look and function quite a bit more modern. So that's the why. The weekend that it's planned is May 17th through the 19th. We are planning to bring all systems down, all the Connect Carolina systems down at 5 o'clock on Friday the 17th. And we plan to be back up on Sunday the 19th sometime. We don't have the exact timings yet. We're still going to the next test environments and checking our timing and trying to get that window down as small as we can. So we hope to be up sometime in the afternoon on Sunday, but we'll be letting everybody know how long that outage will be. We're doing something a little bit different. So I didn't want anybody, I got a question already earlier, so I want to make sure everybody knew this. We are aware that census for summer school is happening on the 17th. And so what will happen is all the systems will come down at 5, and then the campus solutions side of the house will continue to do census processing. And then the upgrade task will start for HR and finance and portal. And then as soon as we get the okay from institutional reporting and the registrar's office, we'll then get all the users out of the system from campus solutions and start that upgrade on that side as well. So what does this makeover do for us? It's going to give us a more modern and tile-based look. So that's really great just from aesthetics. It really looks a lot better, but it also functions a lot better. So it gives us new features that will allow users to have 5 different ways to reach the pages that they need. So it really helps you out if you don't like the menu, or you don't like the tiles, or you don't like another option. You have another one you can go to. And hopefully, at least 99% of people across campus will like at least one of them. So that's our hope. It's more intuitive, which means that those new to the system, if you have new people in your office, the hope is that they can get trained a lot quicker. It's easier for people to get their work done because you have those different options to get there faster. And because the most used features are now going to be placed in areas that are more accessible, it's going to be more available for the users to get to the places that they need to get to. It also is reducing accessibility barriers. So every time that we get updates from Oracle, there are accessibility updates that they give us to make sure that we are staying as up to date on those as possible. The other great thing that this is giving us is responsive design on some of the pages, not all of the pages. So any of the pages that are going to be rolled out as the new makeover look, some of them are going to look new and improved, and some of them are going to look new and improved, but they're also going to be responsive. And what that means is if you're working on a tablet or you're working on your cell phone, the pages are going to change format so that you can see them without having to scroll or maximize, minimize, and it'll change the look, but you'll still have all of the functionality on that page. So those are the new pages that are going to have the responsive design, and the pages that most everybody will be landing on first will have that design. So you'll be able to see that on those. So I'm going to bring up Jackie Treschel to give us some more information from the change management team on the changes.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? Okay, it's sort of echoing. So the first piece that I'm going to talk about is tiles, home pages, and navigation. Originally, I had that as tiles, home pages, navigation. Oh my. So here's sort of, again, sneak peek, safe harbor type statement. These are all just mock-ups. None of this is actually what's currently in the system, and you'll see that as we go through. You'll see backgrounds look different on the way we're presenting and whatnot. So this is just mock-ups of what it could look like going forward. So the first thing that you notice is that there's tiles there. So each of those white boxes that's a tile will take you to somewhere in the system. It may be a page, it may be a work center, it may be to a link to somewhere else, like that Tim box would go out to Tim. And it would just be a one click from that home page. The other really great thing about the home pages is we're able to customize it based on who you are at the university. Now, I don't mean that individually. We have 5 total home pages, and you'll see under that where it says self-service. So anybody that's an employee will have the self-service homepage. So that would be where you go to get your paycheck and that sort of thing. Raj is going to talk about that in just a minute. Then there's an admin work center, which Becky's going to talk about a little more detail, what that looks like. But anybody that is staff that works and sees other people's information in the system is going to have that homepage. Students will have their own homepage. Julie's going to talk about that in just a minute. Faculty portal that all faculty members currently have is not really changing. So they'll still have that as an option, but by virtue of being employees at the university and faculty, they'll have another option so they can go to the self-service homepage as well. And then that last one that's my page will allow anyone to pull in tiles that they want to see. So if the home pages that you have access to don't really work for you, you want the work center on one page and you want the TIM link and that sort of thing, anything that there are tiles for in the system, you can pull those onto your own home page and have that be the default when you log in. So you have options going forward, which is the really cool thing about it. So, and basically to change the page, we're going to pretend that I'm clicking on Admin Work Center. And then it goes to another homepage. Again, still tile-based, and just has all that information on there. Now, I know all of you love and you check in multiple times a day for announcements with what's going on in the system. And so you're like, what in the world? Where are all those announcements? So they are still going to be there. They're just going to be down at the bottom. And the really cool thing is that they're going to be targeted to who you are in the system. So if you only work in finance, do you really care that it's enrollment time? Probably not. So do you need to see that message on the portal? Not necessarily. So you'll notice on the self-service one, our sort of mock announcements are that there's a system outage. Everybody needs to know that. W-2s are now available. That's important for employees. But when I clicked to the Admin Work Center, you see now that it says Amazon's available for ePro now. So we're going to be able to target those messages based on who you are in the system. And then getting around. So let's talk about this. Julie mentioned there are 5 ways to get around. So again, very high level at what this looks like. The first one is the tiles. So you can click on the tiles. It'll take you to where you need to go. The second one, and actually the next few, all go under this toolbar. So there's this new toolbar. This toolbar actually exists in the faculty portal already. So if anybody in here has already seen the faculty portal, it's not new to you. But the compass on the far right opens and gives you some more options there. So you have your favorites. So if you have any favorites saved in Connect Carolina today, they will be in there when this goes live on May 20th. So those are just getting moved over and you won't lose those. So if you're stressed or you have somebody that's stressed about how I'm going to get to my pages going forward, they can go ahead and make favorites now using the breadcrumbs that they have now, and then they'll be there when the new system goes online. The third way is with the navigator. This is what replaces the main menu that we use now. So when you click it, instead of going across the screen like it does now, you know how if you're trying to get to accounts payable, you click and then you click and you click and it goes all the way across the screen till you get to your option. The benefit is this doesn't go all the way across your screen. So what it does is if you were trying to go to HR payroll menu, you would click that and it would bring up the next menu. The breadcrumbs are still going to be at the top. I don't know if you can see where it says Navbar Navigator and then above that it says Home. So our team has actually designed that custom so that the breadcrumbs will still be there so you know where you've gone, but you can go down and come back out as you need to. The fourth way is recent places. So that is just, if you're on a page and then you go somewhere else and you just want to go back to that, all you have to do is hit the compass, recent places, and they'll be there for you to see. And then the fifth way, and Julie's going to talk a little bit more about this as it pertains to students, but is this little spyglass up here is a search option. So you're going to be able to click that and see and then search by keywords, and it'll pull up pages within Connect Carolina that use those keywords. So if you are an HR person, for instance, and looking for job data, you type in job data, it'll pull back the pages that are job data related. So 5 different options to get where you're going. If you don't like one of them, there's 4 more. And now it's Raj Day.
Day is my last name. It's not actually my day. But, like Jackie mentioned, I'm Rajni Day, HR business analyst. Happy to be here. I'm here to answer the important questions like how are you going to get to your paycheck after this makeover gets there? And so that might be something your employees want to know as well. So I thought we could dive deeper into the self-service homepage a little bit. So currently, on the left side, you'll see a lot of the self-service links. In the new Connect Carolina Makeover, we're basically finding places for all those links under tiles. So I thought I'd go through a scenario. How do you get to your paycheck now, and then how you'll get to your paycheck in the future. So now you click on self-service, it opens up, you see a long list of links, click view paycheck, and then you can see your information. Once the makeover happens, on that self-service homepage, you're going to have all different tiles. Like Jackie mentioned, like the TIM tile is going to open up right into TIM, but something like My Paycheck and Tax, you'll click on that, and all of those payroll and tax links will be under that tile. So it's kind of like little curated spaces just for that particular kind of page. So view paycheck is the top one, so it's the first thing that employees will see. But then they can click over on the left side to their W-4, direct deposits going live before this project. So this will be there once this project goes live as well. And what we've also done is added, and where it makes sense, different links to external sources. So you'll notice payroll forms and information is going to go to the payroll site directly. So kind of having more places for resources for your employees. And we thought we'd do another scenario for the managers. And it's a little plug. We're at the end of the SHRA performance appraisal season. So next month, you're going to have to enter, for all the managers, are going to have to enter their ratings. So I thought I'd go through how a manager gets to their work center. So currently, it's under the HR payroll menu, and the manager clicks on Manager Work Center and goes to Current Documents. In the new look, instead of going under HR payroll, the Manager Work Center tile is going to sit on the self-service homepage, but only display for people who have direct reports. If you are an employee who is not a manager, you won't see the tile. And they'll click that and still see the same Manager Work Center. Anita talked about how decisions are changing every day. This was literally a decision that happened yesterday. We were gonna make tiles for managers, but we decided that we're gonna stick with the Manager Work Center. So it's an example of the newest updated information for you. So that's the self-service homepage. I'm gonna pass it over to Becky now to talk about the Admin Work Center.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So you've seen a sneak peek of this. So basically everyone with administrative access, so a menu under Connect Carolina, will have access automatically to the Admin Work Center. You will notice in this screenshot mock-up that we have that there are 3 tiles with Work Center, so Student Administration, Human Resources, and Finance. This particular user has access to all 3. This is also security-based, so if you only had access to the Human Resources Work Center or the Finance Work Center, you would only see that tile. So not everyone will see the same number of tiles. They're just all pulled together in one spot for you. One other thing that, that I wanted to mention here is that we have a list of links that currently live on the portal. We're still in, that take you to external systems. P-card, CBM, things like that. There's some in HR. So we are currently working on deciding if they will be a list of links, some kind of slide out there, or if we'll add them to a tile, or maybe some combination of both. But basically everything that you have access to get to today, we'll make sure you have an easy way to get to it. So let me focus just as an example on if you clicked the tile to go to the Finance Work Center. So we have a Finance Work Center today in Connect Carolina. I know there's an HR one that Raj just showed you. This is the Finance Work Center, and it probably looks very different. So here's a sneak peek to the new look and feel. So things do look more modern. Not every page will look like this. Some will, some won't. Some will be responsive. So if you're on a tablet, they'll size. Some may not. So as we transition, you know, just be aware that not every page will look. Some will look like the old pages, especially in the administrative side, once you kind of drill into Connect Carolina. So we'll continue to make those new pages available as they're rolled out. But this is an example. And one reason that we really are trying to focus on the work centers is that a user can just kind of hop from link to link and not have to navigate around to get to their pages. It pulls it up and kind of then they can go to the next place. All right, let's see. The next thing I want to talk about is the approvals work list. So as an administrative user, if you have finance and HR, you'll have all of your work list items just like you do today in the upper right-hand corner. You'll be able to see everything waiting on your approvals in one spot. You'll click that tile and it'll take you right to it. And similarly, we are collecting links for reporting. So if you have Query Viewer, if you have InfoPort links, if you have access to other places, we're going to have a collection that you can go to if you just want to focus on reporting. We may have some of the same links in the other work centers. So if you're in the work center, you don't have to come out to get to reporting, but trying to give you as many options to get to the pages that you need to help make things more accessible. So that's kind of a preview of the admin work center. Hand it over to Julie. Okay. Thank you. So now we'll talk a little bit about student. So this is where I've just asked Anita if we were going to talk about design at all, because I've been playing quite a bit, as you can see. So this is the artistic piece of me coming out. So definitely there are going to be tiles, but we don't know exactly what's going to be on the tiles. There's definitely going to be some type of background, but we don't know what the background's going to look like. So I'll go ahead and put a plug in now. If you're artistic and you're interested in giving ideas, please take down my email address and send me all your ideas, because we'd love to have them. What we're going to do is look at pretty much everything we can, and then try to narrow it down and actually get campus involved. And so the change management team will actually be sending out kind of a survey to say, which of these do you like best? What do you think works best and is easier for you as far as being able to see and do your work and that kind of thing. So be thinking about that, because we'd really love your feedback. But I wanted to say that right here simply because I went a little crazy here. So don't expect this when you log in. But this is kind of an idea. We've been talking to students. I've met a couple of times with the ResNet students on campus, as well as some other students that came in and actually gave me a few hours, which was great. And we talked to them about how they use Connect Carolina. As you might imagine, students say, I don't like to do anything except for enroll for my classes. So, you know, just whatever, do whatever you want. And so I said, no, tell me exactly what would be helpful. And so they said for their homepage, what would be the most helpful is to have things that they could see right at a glance. Of course, they have their hands glued to, or their phones glued to their hands pretty much at all times. So if they're able to log into Connect Carolina and right away see immediate information on checklists, holds, things that are going to prevent them from enrolling, which is the holy grail. They have to be able to look for their classes and enroll. That's the most important thing. Also really important to them is, when can I enroll? So what is the date and time that my enrollment appointment is happening? Let me jump out to shopping cart and put a couple more classes in there. They also love doing their GPA calculator. They want to run that all the time. They're like, I just had a test. I didn't do as well as I thought I did. So maybe I should recalculate that and see what's going to happen if I make a B now instead of an A. So apparently they do that a lot. They also like to go out and run their unofficial transcript. And that actually, with this makeover, has rolled out a really nice version of that. So it's going to be a much prettier version that I think that everybody will really like. They also really like Tar Heel Tracker. And they like being able to log in and see, where am I supposed to be right now? So seeing their schedule for today was also very important to them, but also being able to see, do I have money due? Did I get a new financial aid letter that I'm not aware of that maybe I need to go take a look at? But this I loved because I'm alum. They said that they loved being able to see their name on the screen under Carolina and with Carolina Scenes, especially when they're a new student. And they also like to see their major and their minor, especially if they change it a few times a day. So they didn't really want a tile that took them to their personal information. We, and you guys probably as well, really want them to check that. That's so important if they have an outdated address, phone number, that kind of thing. So we really want them checking that and making those updates when they need to. They didn't want that taking up real estate on the page. So I did kind of a little sneaky thing there. And I said, okay, we'll put your name and your major on there. But if you click on it, you can go check your address and make sure it's correct. So that will also take them to the place that they can check those things. So we're still meeting with them and talking through these types of things. This is, again, totally mocked up. None of that is real. So we'll keep evolving there. So once they click on Student Center tile that you saw, it brings them to their Student Center. The image, this is an example of one that's not changing very much, as you can tell, so I'm having to actually look to see which one is which. But in Student Center, oh, sorry, it says new. You guys did that for me, thank you. So the one on top is how the Student Center will look with the new look. And pretty much what you can tell is it's a little bit bigger in places as far as the grid and some of the wording. The biggest thing I noticed between the two is the search for classes button is a different color. And the little bars that go across the screen for the titles is now gone. That's about all I could tell that was different in these two renderings. So there will be some pages like this that will have a new look with a new style sheet, but you won't really be able to tell that much of a difference when you get to the page. If we didn't tell you this, you would probably look at those two and not really be able to see that much difference. So that's Student Center. This is an example of something that will change quite a bit. So if a student goes to look at a checklist and they want to see what's missing, today at the bottom, they see their to-do items and they can click on the link and then get information about the checklist and take care of whatever is needed. In the makeover and the new rendering, you would see a much different look as far as the grid and the font and the coloring and all that kind of stuff. So this gives you an example of pages that do look significantly different, that somebody definitely would notice the difference when they land on that page. The other thing that's going to happen differently for students that we need to make sure everybody on campus is also aware of is that class search and enrollment is definitely going to be a piece that is using the new development tools, and it is going to be responsive. So this is something that's so important to students, and they're going to be able to do this on their phone and be able to see the pages appropriately on their phone, which is so important to them. So this is using the Elasticsearch, which is also the thing that you saw as one of your options for finding pages. So the spyglass in the top toolbar that allows you to actually do almost like a Google search inside of PeopleSoft, inside of Connect Carolina. You'd be able to put a word and it would return a listing. As long as you have access to see those pages, you would be able to click on it like a hyperlink and it would take you to that page. That is the same tool that is going to run Class Search. And so it is a much better search engine, and it's going to give us better options on doing class search. And so this is kind of how it looks and how it will work for a student. The very first thing they would do is select the term. Once they select it, it stays until they change it. And so that's something really important to the students, because they mentioned in one of the screens, if they went out and they came back, it went away. And they hate that. So they have to put the term back in. And then the thing that they looked for, Psychology 101, that stayed. And that's the thing they wanted to go away, because they wanted to look for a different class. And so that's one great thing, is that once they select a term, it'll stay until they change it. And then they're going to have a search in the kind of grayed out box over there, where they'll be able to put in a keyword. So if they know exactly what they're looking for, they can type in keywords there. They can also add to their favorites. If there's a class that they are really looking for and they want to keep looking for that, they can add that and then be able to see their favorites in the bottom middle. They can also go back and see recently viewed. So if they've been searching for some things and they want to go back and see if they can look at it again, they'll have those listings there as well. So once they put in however they wanted to search, it will return to them a full listing of all the classes. Oh, I'm sorry. There's also the additional ways to search in the blue wording that's a link, and it also gives them the ability to look for things like search by the instructor name or the catalog number or the subject, and it will actually give them a drop down of all the subjects that they can search for. So it returns a full list of their classes based on the initial requests that they put in. And then on the left is going to be a full list of parameters that they can now filter down. So they'll get an initial list of courses, and then they'll be able to say, well, only show me the open ones, or show me open and waitlisted but not closed. So every one of those headings we're going to be looking at and working with registrar's office, advisors, students to see which ones are most useful for them. If they think some are not useful, we'll just take those out so that there's less clutter on the left-hand side of the page. But it gives them the ability to really filter all the way down, and every time they choose a filter, the rendering on the page changes. And then they can go back and say, oh, let me put that back. And then it'll change again and give them those options again. So there's all different kinds of things that they can search on. One really important thing to our students is the class attributes, which is at the bottom. And that's what allows them to search for things like gen eds. So if they know that they have to get their gen eds finished, they need to see what's left, they can go down in there and see, indicate which gen ed they're looking for, and it'll return those classes for them. The nice thing about the responsive design is this does show you how it renders on their phone. And so you can see that their initial search will return their, the values for that initial search parameters. But then there's a little drawer handle over here on the left. This is called a page tab. And what they can do is click on that, and it opens up their parameters and their filters. And then they can make different choices again. They can close it back, and they see all the classes that are available. And so that gives them that real estate back on the page. That happens both on the desktop and in the phone, but it gives them the ability to move that out of the way when they're finished looking at it. Okay, Anita.
Thank you. Okay, so what do you think so far? How many of you seen the mock-ups before? Anyone? Because several had. Okay. What are your thoughts so far? Good change, not so great change, good change, not so great. Mostly thumbs up. Okay. Some people are still holding back. They're waiting. That's a wise decision. We wanted to give you a preview of what the system is going to look like, the direction that we're going in. But now I want to switch gears a little bit and think about this is a change coming to campus and the central offices, and how are we going to prepare for that change? So lots of changes coming, but boiling them down a little bit, thinking about this as a change, we all think on the project team that this is going to be something that most people will like eventually, right? So it is still a change though. So we think of it as a good change, but change is just annoying, especially when it touches navigation. So how many of you guys have gone into Word and suddenly you're on a new version of Word, and why did they move everything around? Everything has now, there's new menus, and it's, in the end, we're like, oh yeah, that was kind of made sense. But in the beginning, it's just an annoying, challenging kind of thing to get used to. And this will be the same for many people on campus. Lost my numbers. Because the navigation is changing, and because when people sign in that morning, that Monday morning, it's going to just look completely different. And that's a big change. So even though we know that it's really, once you get to where you need to go, it will be pretty much the same as it always has been. It's going to do the same things. It's going to feel like a pretty big change because it's going to look really, really different. So it's one of our project managers kind of said, oh, it's really kind of like a skin deep change. And I wouldn't go that far, but it's kind of a good way to think about it, because once you get past that initial navigation, things will work pretty much the same, but it will feel like a big change to everyone who goes through it. So just kind of, that's how I want to approach it from a change management perspective. So here's what we're going to do to help get everyone ready. So we kind of think about it when it's a project like this that touches a lot of pretty much everyone really who uses Connect Carolina, or literally everyone. We divide it into, like, we're going to do some things that touch everyone, that go out to everyone. We have some activities guided for leadership, which you guys are among those people. We have a little bit for faculty. So I think Jackie mentioned that faculty, what they see is not really changing very much, but it is changing a little bit, and we want to let them know. Then we have some activities around students. Students are notoriously hard to reach. So if any advice, any and all advice is very welcome, but we'll tell you what we're going to do so far. And then administrative staff, so everyone who uses, actually goes in and does part of their jobs in Connect Carolina. We have a more intensive effort for those folks. And then all employees, so people who need to get their paycheck and things like that, who don't do work in Connect Carolina, but are employees. All right, so quickly. So we're just gonna have lots of broad communication. So you guys have, sounds like some of you have already seen the newsletter articles, which is great. We're also going to be sending targeted emails. So one of the cool things about Connect Carolina for us people who do, us folks who do communications, is that we can pull lists right out of Connect Carolina for a lot of people who use particular parts of the system. So that'll be handy for this project. And we're also going, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but for leadership, we're going to send what's called talking points. So thanks for Michael. Michael reminded me that that was a good thing to do. And so we are going to start doing that. Hopefully tomorrow you'll get your first set of talking points. For students, you know, we're going to just hit them from every direction if we can. So we're going to send them emails to get, you know, very mixed reviews on whether students read emails, but some of them do. We're going to do posters, so we're going to broadly disseminate posters, mostly on how to get to learn more about the change. We won't try to put details in that. We're going to do postcards, and then for everyone else, it'll be a series of, you know, emails, meetings that we'll present at, social media, that kind of thing. So broad communications. We're going to do a series of videos, and if we have time, we'll show you the first one today. You guys will be among the first to see it. So very quick 1 to 2 minute videos that just highlight some of the key things, and hopefully will be catchy. You guys will have to tell us if we were successful on that. We're going to be updating documentation. So as you can imagine, basically every document that tells you how to get into Connect Carolina is going to have to be touched in some way. So we'll be doing that for all of our audiences. For students, we're going to be doing some pit events, so that'll be fun. We're going to have food. That was like everyone pretty much universally said that was a requirement, so we will do that. But just trying to get the word out. So it's a little challenging for students because the change will happen after they leave. You know, for this school year, it'll touch, if they're coming in for summer, you know, they'll see the change sooner. And then some of them won't really see it until they come back in the fall. So, you know, we're going to have to spread that communications out for them. For some staff on the student side, we are doing training because some staff not only are going through their own change, but then they have to see what students see. And for students, what they do will actually be a little bit different. So we are going to do webinars we're going to do separate webinars for finance staff, HR staff, and student administration staff. So a lot of the content will be the same, but we want to be able to specifically point out what the changes will be. So we're targeting that like in May, a couple weeks before the go live. For faculty, again, that's not a big change for them, but we do want them to be aware. So we're going to try to get on the faculty council agenda, and we're going to try to send information out so people can include it in their, schools can include it in their school newsletters. So not a huge campaign for faculty. We'll put messaging up on the faculty portal and that kind of thing. So not a big change for them, but we do want them to be aware. We're going to do daily calls. So I know I see Christy and Shannon, and Michael probably was here, but when we went live with, I bet Renee was on those calls maybe, but when we went live on the HR and finance side in 2014, we had daily calls to let leadership dial in and ask questions. So we want to reinstitute those. So thanks to this crew for agreeing to that concept. But it was really very valuable, at least for us, to kind of hear what was going on and make sure everyone was getting the information they needed. And oops, that was it then. So that's it in a nutshell. Some of that has already started. So there is a website on the ccinfo.unc.edu website that is collecting this information. It's just getting started. But we're going to start broadly very, very soon to get the word out about this. All right. So what's next? So on the change management front, we are going to start sending talking points, as I mentioned. And what that is really just for you. It's not, you don't have to forward those around. In fact, we'd rather not. But we'd love for you to help us spread the word. And the reason is we'll be doing tons of communications. We'll, be getting the messages out, getting materials updated on all that stuff. But when your teams hear it from you, it's always more meaningful, right? It's like they're going to listen to you, whereas to us, it's like, yeah, something Connect Carolina. But when you say something, they're actually going to say, oh, this is actually a thing that I need to pay attention to, right? So we don't want people to wait until, the day before go live to kind of figure out what's going on. We would love for them to start kind of cluing in a little bit now. And so we'd love your help with that. So if you can, just mention it in your meetings that this is coming and maybe go check this out. We'll show you the video. Do we have time? I'm looking for Jackie. We do have time? Okay, we'll show you the little video. Encourage your staff to watch it, please. I know it's not going to take a big part of anybody's day just yet. It's still some time until we make the switch, but we really don't want people to be surprised. So if you can just help us get people's attention and say, yeah, this is a thing that's coming, but it's okay. There are lots of ways that you're going to be prepared for this change. It would be a huge help to just getting the word out. Also, just FYI, if you do have internal documentation, it's going to need to change. So that might be an effort to plan for and think about. And a couple things I should have put on the slide that I didn't, is that just kind of planting the seed now, the day of the go live, just remember that it's going to take people longer to get stuff done for a little while until they get used to the navigation. So that'll be one thing to keep in mind. And then also on the, especially on the finance side and on HR side some as well, if people can start using the work centers, they'll make the transition more easily. So encourage that as well. Anything else from you guys that would help people prepare? Okay, so before we start the Q&A, we just wanted to show you the quick video. It's 2 minutes and 13 seconds, I think is what it is, which is an unlucky number. I don't know why we ended it there, but so this is just going to go out broadly. It actually went out in the HR Digest already for those of you who are on that list, but we'll share it here as well. And it's going to go out in the Connect Carolina newsletter soon. It'll be loud.
It might be. You have earbuds in.
Not very loud.
Yeah,
Here it's not very loud.
Okay. Okay, what do you think? First video? Yeah. The funny thing is, like, it's only 2 minutes, and Rebecca, have to give a shout out to Rebecca because I'm getting embarrassed, but she developed this, but she was like, oh my gosh, it feels like an eternity, that 2 minutes. And it's like, once you've seen it like 3 or 4 times, it's like, oh my God, is it still going? Oh. But it didn't hit me that way when I first saw it, and I think it's great. So I'm hoping it will catch people's attention, and I think it's really well done. Okay, so let's turn it over to your questions. So we've got the crew sitting here. So what questions? Audra. So yeah, so the question was, when you're on the finance, no, I've already forgotten. The approvals work list, will it show you how many items you have waiting for your approval? And Becky said yes. Okay, Audra. So hang on one second. So the question was, will it be all your approvals, HR, finance, and student administration? And the answer was yes. Okay.
Travel right now is a separate place you have to go to approve. Is this upgrade going to move travel approvals under there for us?
So travel is currently a separate approval process to go approve travel transactions. And will it be moved into that same work list? And the answer, unfortunately, was no. Not for now. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you for. So Sharon Boquin clarified that it's not campus. So I'm sorry. So campus solutions approvals are not in that work list. It's just HR and finance. Is that right? Correct. Okay. Oh, okay. So sorry for that misinformation there.
Becky, in the main tiles, I didn't see in general, I know this is just an example, but GL ledger and sort of manager responsibilities, where's that stuff going to live?
So for the manager, I only have a memory of like 10 seconds. So, so for manager transactions, where will those live? And specifically on the finance side, but yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's okay. So, okay. So all that will still live in the work center. There will be links in the work center. The work center will be able to collapse down the tabs that you don't need to see. But you also can get to it through the navigator. So you still will be able to navigate. You still will be able to access anything via your favorites. And you can also search for a keyword and pull up that page if you were looking for a specific page. So we really are pointing things to the Finance Work Center. We hope that most of the links campus needs access to will be there on the Work Center. But you still will be able to navigate to the same pages that you have today.
Melinda asked the question, we have our own Work Center page. Will those pages be modified as well?
So Melinda is in the PID office and they have a PID Work Center and that will remain the same. So we will have the PID Work Center as part of the Student Admin Work Center, and it'll be a link out to their current Work Center. We will be giving it the new look, and so it will look nicer, but that will be one of the ones that I think does not have a tremendous difference in the way that it looks today.
Are there any more questions online? Okay, so what questions do you guys have? Any others? I do. So Michael's going to give us, that's great. Get some input for those of you on the webinar as well. So if you have ideas about how to reach students or anyone else for that matter, we would love to hear them. So just, you can send them to Anita_Collins at unc.edu. It's my email address. So great. Thanks, Michael. All right. Anything else? Anyone else? Okay, so thanks so much for joining us today here in person on this rainy day, not so rainy now, and on the webinar as well. As I mentioned, we will be releasing the recording of this. We do ask that There are mock-ups in this that will change. And so, you notice our video has like a sketchy look because we don't want people to get too attached to any one particular thing. So if you would, share the information, but not the actual recording, if you don't mind. We'll try to release information as we get it more solid. So, but for you guys, you can see it. But, okay, so thanks so much. We'll see you next time.